do, do, do. Just take a second to get ready, guys. Pardon me. Oh. Right. I need to get painting. One of those. I know the other one of those. That guy. Hey Alpha, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Scales of War, good evening, good evening. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I had some technical issues. My phone just would not connect to my Wi-Fi for any reason whatsoever. Which is always fun. And infuriating when you work in IT and can't figure something out. But not as infuriating as when I lose a paint. There she blows. How have you guys been? Have you been up to much? I'm trying to convince myself to get back to schoolwork. Ah, what are you studying? Anything good? I will give you this piece of advice and motivation. Once you finish at school, you go to work. And work sucks. Stay in school for as long as possible. I cannot stress this enough. Oh, I just got a real whiff of the paint and it reminded me of being like 6 years old. Yeah, I'd give a lot to just be back at school with no worries and just studying and that nice schedule. Oh, that'd be great fun. After switching majors a bunch, I'm currently in hotel restaurant management. Well, okay. You're going to be that snooty concierge from every 80s movie ever. Enjoy. Hi, Go For It Painting. How you doing? How's your evening going? That does remind me. I should probably share this with the regulars and let them know that I've actually started streaming. Boop. There we go. And let's just throw it up on the old Twitters as well. I refuse to call it X. Bouncing the baby again tonight. Well, you know, you're going to be doing that every single evening for the rest of your life. Which is fine. That's what they're there for. My friend has just had a newborn, or relatively newborn. He's only a couple of weeks old, and yeah, he looks quite dishevelled a lot of the time now. Just no sleep. But he's still, you know, going to work and kicking ass. Putting up with me. So I went to Reading Warfare this weekend that's just gone. Didn't manage to find anything good. The there really were no good deals to be had, unfortunately. Lots of people selling blatant recast models, and while, you know, I don't have a huge problem with recasts, I do have a bit of a problem with people selling them at shows. You know, let people know what they are and make an informed decision, but yeah, there was none of that. It was all people selling stuff and kind of implying that it was legit. I did see a legit Forge World Raven Guard box dreadnought though, for £45, which I was very tempted for, but then I saw it was quite heavily damaged, which was disappointing. But I did get myself one model, if I can find it. I don't know where it is. I got Archon on foot without his shield for £15. So I don't know if I'm just going to stick that on eBay, if I'm going to paint it myself. But that usually goes for anywhere up to about £100, depending on the condition. So I should be able to get at least 40 for that. There's a reason my skeleton logo has a suit. I'm going to be a snooty concierge. I can't wait until I'm in Home Alone 2. Wasn't that Tim Curry? I'm pretty sure that was Tim Curry. And isn't the other one where Donald Trump turns up? Yeah, didn't start any wars and helped Kevin McAllister find his way. What a guy. Was applying transfers to 5 Volkite Culverin Marines and a champion yesterday. Ooh. Decals can be a pain. They're great, I love them, but boy can they be annoying, especially onto shoulder pads. They never want to sit flat, never want to soften right for me, very easily want to just fall apart, which is really annoying because they're expensive. I don't know, I hate school. I understand wanting to go back to high school, but I don't know, I never found uni to fit what it was like in the movies. No, well, I got kicked out of university twice, so I wouldn't be going back there. And actually getting kicked out messed me up. I used to have nightmares that I'd be at university and I wouldn't know where I'm going, and then someone would come up to me and go, "You got kicked out, you're not supposed to be here," and I'd wake up, and that went on for 2 or 3 years. I got PTSD from getting kicked out of university. Yeah, just don't tell people you can't fail the first year. They'll take it as a challenge. Hey Bryce, how you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Honestly, so it sounds like an opportunity to rewatch Home Alone there, Alpha, you know? No excuses. I started watching that movie, The Creator, last night. I haven't finished it, I've got near the end, but I ran out of time. It's it's not bad for like a sort of generic sci-fi kind of film. I'm going pretty good. I got Magnus and his boyfriend Amon. I always refer to him as that because it makes people pissed off to an extent that it's funny. You mean rat-faced Amon? Magnus can do better than Ratface. I come to Bando. You are welcomed at Bando. How you doing, buddy? I'm still blown away by these Legion Imperialis prices. I actually can't get over how expensive some of these armies are going to be. But the people defending it blow my mind more. And then there's that Weta Workshop. That Weta Workshop model that's been announced. The 1 in 6 scale Titus model. For $1,500. No thanks. For that price I can buy a top of the line printer, a wash and cure station, I can buy all the resin I'll need and probably pay someone to make said model and then print it. I can't get over the smell of this paint, it's fantastic. I did think about doing some female custodians because I'm like the Lord doesn't actually say they all have to be men. I will find you and I will kill you. I have not seen your new video. How expensive are the new manager prices for Epic? How are people defending them? So it looks like each box set's about £30. So you'll get 4 drop pods for £30. Or I think it's $50 $45. It's expensive. So that Blood Angels army that's in White Dwarf is about £500 in total. And people are talking about how it's cheap compared to other games of that scale, and I'm like, bro, a starter army for Drop Zone Commander is 30 quid. Agatoria is 45. You have the new game from Alessio Calvatore, which is going to be somewhere between 40k and Epic, and that's looking like it's going to be priced similarly as well. What was the other one? Flames of War. Flames of War, you can get units for like £8. I did try painting these wires yellow to do them in hazard stripes. I did one and it looked terrible, so I've gone back and I've repainted all of them black. So now I'm just going to do them gold instead. Sometimes the little plans in our heads don't work out how we want them to. And that's okay, I suppose. Still no vehicle, waiting for wedding, still need to print Warhound. You need to print that Warhound. You're slipping, old man. Also, I didn't know you were getting married. Congratulations. I expect my my invite's in the post, right? Or was it eaten by an alligator? I did see quite a funny tweet the other day, which was somewhere in the Midwest was measuring how much snow had fallen by how far it was covering a pink flamingo. And as a running update, they abbreviated flamingo to mingo. And when finally the snow reached the top, they loudly declared, "We are at full mingo," and it made me laugh way more than it should have. Bando's not allowed to the swamp wedding. That is sickening in every way, shape or form. That's clearly racist. Sexist, bandoist, every other kind of ist there is out there as well. To be fair, the Weta Workshop one is a great one. I can't knock the Weta's quality. I've actually got... so at the Weta Workshop in New Zealand, they do actually have a miniature shop, because one of the guys sculpts regular 28mm miniatures. And I've got one of his models. It's this baboon warrior guy. And I've never finished painting it. I really should. Their sculptors are fantastic. I cannot knock the quality. What I can knock is the fact that anyone's going to drop $1,500 on that. But I'm sure someone will. Because some people have too much money. I really just want to get some of these blood angels finished. LI is just another attempt by GW to have a game in every sector of the market. Watch it get patchy support and infrequent FAQs 6 months after initial release. You're expecting it to get FAQs? You do have high hopes for this game. We are, nearly halfway through the life cycle of Heresy 2.0? And I don't think we've had an FAQ at all, have we? New epic prices, laughs in 3D printer. Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing. Yeah, I expect GW to get even more pissy about 3D printers in the future. But like, what are you going to do, you know? You sell the books separately, congratulations. Actually, that wouldn't surprise me if Games Workshop ended up stop selling books separately to try and stop things like 3D printers. That's a sort of dumb move they would make. In other news, the pay scale for the CEO and the senior staff at Games Workshop leaked, and they doubled their pay with bonuses this year, which is great, you know, nice to know. And also, they may have accidentally leaked their cost price to a third-party retailer. And if that is what it is, the cost price that Games Workshop pays for their materials and stuff, oh, it's sickening. Yeah, when we said things cost pennies, we didn't realise we were that accurate. Hey Joseph, how you doing, buddy? How are things? Resculpted second pauldron while at work. I'm almost proud. Well, you should always be proud, buddy. Not too proud, you know, because pride is still a sin, remember that. Nasty Chaplain man with his big axe. Hoping for an extensive plastic solar auxilia range release though. Knew as soon as I saw one on Horus's base they'd be coming. The rumours I have are a little disappointing, as it's very similar to the Marine releases in the sense that it's all tanks and no infantry. And if that's true, it's not going to be as great a launch as they want. As much as people want tanks, plastic infantry is also most definitely what they want. Especially when the core of said army is tertios of infantry. Also put together a militia list today with like 450 bodies in it, which was hilarious at 2,500 points. But I'd have to use third-party models. There's no way I could ever afford GW prices to get that many infantry. Not unless GW started selling in bulk again. Do campaign books count as FAQs? No, those are campaign books. Those add new contents, they do not fix existing content. In fact, they usually break content. It's 31 degrees here with 70% humidity. I'm hoping that's 31 degrees Celsius, and it's nice and warm for you. Because otherwise that's going to suck. But actually 31 degrees at 70% humidity sucks anyway. And that's what we get during the summer. Except it's usually around 80 to 90% humidity. And we have no aircon. And our houses are built of stone. The funniest thing about this is if they lowered their prices, a bunch of people would not be switching over to 3D printing. You're right, they wouldn't. The problem is GWA can't lower their prices, because if they did, they'd never keep anything in stock, because they're already struggling with the current prices. And B, they want to keep their brand as like an elite brand. They want it to be expensive. They want it to be hard to get a hold of. there's a lot of tech companies do that. They limit the release of their models, so you just can't get a hold of them. Waiting for Mal to send me the Salamander's Contemptor at the moment. Nice, nice. My next order to the chairman will involve 2 of the Salamander's box dreadnought. Is it Drakasan? Because I'm going to use those to be Alpha Legion dreadnoughts. Yeah, I need to order all of the parts for my Saboteur and the 2 dreadnoughts. They didn't even put the bonus to shareholders vote because there's a lot of shareholders who wouldn't approve it. Yeah. And if I was a shareholder, I'd be very angry with that. I asked my parents to buy me Games Workshop shares almost for my birthday or for Christmas almost every year since I was about 6 years old. They've never done it. Could have made an absolute killing thanks to 2008, but no. Would I still shit on Games Workshop if I was a shareholder? Abso-frackin-lutely. In fact, I'd probably rag on them more. Bando should do the 1100 infantry list. I mean, I probably should. You know, I'd love to do some, like, ridiculous army list at some point. But space and money are both a bit of an issue at the moment. Sadly, especially money. That is a big problem. Bando's housemate has not paid him rent in a month and a half. I plan on going to Mal for my Solar Auxilia. I mean, yeah, might as well. Yeah, I mean, just it's just painfully too expensive to collect that army. I mean, if I was one of those people that played the game loads, I don't know how you could ever collect that army, because a lot of people I know, they buy their army in whole, build it, and then start playing with it, and they paint it as they go. I mean, how on earth is someone supposed to buy an army that will set them back as much as a new car? It's insane. Meanwhile, Mantic's Game HQ is like 3 blocks from GW's headquarters. You wonder if they ever run into GW staff, like rival gangs running into each other. Yeah, also the same with Warlord Games, and they've got a lot of ex-GW stuff. Rick Priestley, I believe, worked there. Fat Bloke worked there, the old editor of White Dwarf. Met him, he's a nice guy. Alessio Calvatore works there as well, I believe. Which is why Bolt Action's so great, because it plays like 3rd edition, because it's literally written by the guys who wrote 3rd edition. But it is funny how many people are leaving GW and setting up competition and doing really, really well. And then there's parasites like me, who used to work for Games Workshop and now just make videos about models on the internet. I guess we will get the Scouring campaign book before a new 3rd edition, because a new edition requires putting the effort of doing stuff. No, I reckon we'll get 3rd edition Age of Darkness before we get that. I think we will get the Scouring. I think you're absolutely right there. But I think we'll get 3rd edition in the next 2 years or so. Yeah, the Scouring will launch with the new Mark 7 box set. I have 200 shares in GW stock. Well, there you go. I hope you're making an absolute killing off them. I kind of want to invest into GW because I feel like it's a good investment and still be able to shit talk them. What's a better pastime? Space and money would not be an issue if your mum and dad had invested in GW. Money maybe. I've already got too many models as it is, so that's my problem. Oh, there is a plan. There is a plan in place for dealing with this problem. And it is a problem of my own making, so it's okay. Did that once after leaving Battletech in 2000. I bought the brand new 1st edition Tau, burned a part of my soul out just trying to get 3 colours onto a whole army. Lesfield. When Tau came out, I was collecting pre-heresy Emperor's Children, and with lots of heavy bolters, just to kill Tau, because everyone wanted Tau armies. And I wanted to kill them. Oh, it is warm in here today. I wish I had a place to play bolt action that's local. Well, Doctor, no, you just have to look around. You know, find a local games club. Find someone who plays. If they don't play, pick up the like one of the starter games, paint up both sides, and go and introduce them to it. Be the change you want to see. One thing I've always wanted is a great big Italy themed like town board, like bombed out churches and lots of like tiled roofs, that sort of thing. My goal, and this is not a realistic goal in any way, shape or form, is to eventually make enough money off this channel, which I'm certainly not doing at the moment, to rent a studio space and be able to have space to do all that sort of stuff. Because I think that'd be really cool. Is that everyone? Ah, that's everyone. Nice. Wasn't hard to kill them from what I remember. It basically won or lost space in the first turn. Yeah, that railgun placement was really important. hammerhead. I've never painted a hammerhead, and I quite like the look of it. I'm about 200 shares from having enough to send someone to the shareholders meeting with a list of my complaints. Yes, I would very much like to have enough shares in Games Workshop that I could do stuff like that. I'd very much like to have enough money that I could Elon Musk Games Workshop from underneath them. I think that'd be really funny. Hostile takeover. Make it private. And then just be like, oh, things are changing now. Things are changing. First thing I'd do is I'd offer a discount for everyone who has a year-long subscription to Warhammer Plus. You get a one-use discount code of like 50%. Up to a certain amount. Like, I wouldn't be crazy and be like, yeah, you could just empty me out. But, you know, everyone who's been there for a year, they get one use every year for a 50% discount. Up to like, I don't know, £1,000. I would put the made to order stuff up on a vote for anyone who's currently subscribed to Warhammer Plus. So each month you get to vote for what is going to be on the made to order page the next month. I put all the rule books up there with the rules in them. I do videos of people playing older editions and older specialist games. I put all the specialist game rule books up there for free, or, you know, for paying subscribers. I put up articles on, you know, guys making stuff for those games and how to use modern kits to play that, because you've got these games are free. The rules are out there. Grab a copy of Gorka Morka, scan the rulebook in, put it on the website. And then you just go, here are some orc models that are the equivalent of the models in this book. Boom. Instantly you have another game available for people to play. I once DM'd Valrak and said he'd do it for the views. I assume you mean... I assume you mean like Elon Musk in Games Workshop. I was told yesterday that I would make a great Iron Warrior or Night Lords actor. That's not great, Cole. I'd be, you know, their name goes in the book, mate. That's not a good thing. Tau don't work in a game without altering activation. Losing your entire army before you could even have a turn sucks. It does, yeah. That's why I like bolt action so much, because, you know, it doesn't... I mean, you can still lose most of your army in you know, one turn. It's very difficult to happen. But then the enemy, if they've played all their units, has nothing to counteract your moves when it's your turn. So it's much better. Wild shit like him explaining the Emperor's artwork is propaganda front and his body's behind the scenes instead. Oh, the John Blanche interview. Yeah, that's a really good interview. I like the old blotty Crisis suits, especially the actual stealthy looking stealth suits. I looked at the modern ones and they're less appealing. I don't like the new stealth suits. I do like the old ones. The Crisis suits I wish were more like the Commander suit. The Commander kit's really nice. I like the idea of them being multi-part. I don't like the feet. I don't like the little hooves they've got. But yeah, I do like Crisis suits. I don't like the heads. And the arms need to be more posable. Just like I prefer the old Dreadnought. I love the old Dreadnought. pour one out for a real one, chaps. Chin chin. Wait, I hear Elon plays Warhammer. Let's just get him to buy it. That would be funny. It wouldn't surprise me as well if he did. A full complement of original stealth suits are about the only thing I have left of my old Tau. I think he gave it all in a rage when I quit. It happens. You know, you lose models, you give them away, you don't think you're ever going to need them again. I did the same thing with my old games consoles. I gave my little sister my old Nintendo. I broke my PlayStation because I didn't think I'd ever need them. I didn't want them. I wanted the new thing. And now all I can think about is really wanting to play my original PlayStation. Put everything published by GW on Warhammer Plus with a 2-year delay on new content. Yeah, that's about it. That's all you really need to do. I'd also change the codexes. I think the codexes are the biggest thing that need changing at Games Workshop. And you need to change those into being not having the rules in them. Yeah, the rules should be free on the website, so you can, build your army. You build an army builder on the website. In fact, I'd probably just buy New Recruit and just pay the guys, drop keep it. And then, everything stays on there. The codexes become your one-stop shop for fluff, art, hobby, and ideas for your army. That way you can keep releasing new ones and updated ones, and you don't outdate them because there's no rules inside them. Plus, if you make sure that every 3 years or however long it takes for you to release these new codexes, if you make sure that all of them have got new stuff in them, people will collect them. How did you do the black on these guys? Kind of inspiring to do my own pure Death Company. You're not going to like it, but I just painted them black. It's literally just black, and then I sponged silver over it, and then I did a brown wash into the recesses. Well, actually all over, but mostly in the recesses. My Raven Guard are the same. They're literally just painted black. The easiest way to paint black is just do them black. I get the impression there's also a lot of bad blood between writers and GW. Alessio Calvatore and I have been told had some issues. Yeah, there is. There's gonna be. There was a definite push between artistic vision and financial vision, and artistic vision lost. Bando, I have my Lex list. It'll make you laugh. Already have the resin amount worked out for it. DM it to me, buddy. I want to giggle. Have all the rules dropped at once instead of having some poor army only have rules for 2 months for the new edition. Abso-frackin-lutely as well. That's a very important thing. Make sure all the armies are playable from the get-go. Yeah, that's really important. This paint, Rune Fang Steel, is awful. It's got a mixing ball in there, I mix it up good and proper, and it still separates. Give me old school Mithril Silver any day. To slap it on so bloody thick for it to cover at all. But the big issue is that Games Workshop is kind of Neolithic in their tech department. A lot of their equipment is very old, a lot of their IT support is very old. And they just don't have the sensibilities to update it properly. And this is shown by the fact that if you want to work there, you have to move to Nottingham. Which means they are missing out on a large amount of talent who doesn't want to move to Nottingham, because frankly Nottingham's a bit of a shithole. It used to be one of the most violent cities in England. So yeah, that's the other thing I do. Open up the roles, a lot of the office roles, to remote workers. A lot of the artwork roles could be remote working as well. The sculptors could even be remote workers. The reason they don't for a lot of it is a heavy-handed approach to security, which could be solved very easily. A good document management system in place, and some strict NDAs would stop anyone sharing stuff they're not supposed to, because you'd be able to figure out where something came from very easily, and then you nuke the person from orbit for sharing it. But again, you should also be sharing your work in progress shots with the community anyway, so that people can be they can give feedback. Because, you know, we don't want to spend 6 months developing models, drop them, and the community goes, what the fuck are these? Like they did with the Space Wolf helmets. Someone would have seen those, thought they were great, and then no one wanted to counteract that. It doesn't matter if a director thinks they're really cool if the entire community is telling you they're garbage. You change it. You know, if they'd had one, if the sergeant's helmet had been that wolf helmet, I think people would have been okay with it. But the fact that it was all of them, that was the problem. Oops. The Perry brothers' response to why they left is effectively no comment. Well, yeah. There you go. Perry brothers are great as well. I got to meet them at Salute last year, or this year. They're very friendly, very knowledgeable, passionate about history. Difficult to buy gloves for. Boy, my socks and feet smell. I've just got a whiff. I should put my shoes back on. I never use my Ruined Fang Steel. Good, it's crap. I hate this paint. It's awful. I mean, with how armies are now, you could drop one detachment every few months for every army. Yeah. Have you tried the new Army Painter Speed Metallics? Finicky but really lovely coverage. I have not. I am waiting for Army Painter to release their whole new range, which I would love to get my hands on. Yeah, once that comes out, I will definitely give them a go. I will do a review like I did for these TT Combat paints. I will paint... I don't know what I'll paint. I might do another Bado unit. Probably put it up for a vote on the comments, because I've not done that for a while. It's always good to put the votes up, because you guys seem to really enjoy it. Bullying me into painting things in armies I don't actually want to paint for. That being said, I should really get round to building and painting that Night Lord Cerberus as well. That's still sat in a box behind me. Oh, when this is all done, I suppose. That would make a healthier game, in your opinion, Bando. I'm not sure what you mean by flagler and narrative. Gameplay and balance. I think you need to find a balance between both the ludological side of the game, which is the gameplay side of it, and the narrative side, you know, the storyline. If we're just playing a game, then the models don't matter at the end of the day, because it's just a game. It's we might as well use paper tokens, they're cheaper. Narratively though, I want my models to appear in a certain way to represent a certain thing in the story, and that helps me sell more products, which is what I want as a business. So realistically, I would put it at a straight up 50-50 split, because if the narrative is great, like we have at the moment, we sell lots of models and people get into the property. But if the game sucks, like it does at the moment, people don't stick around. They complain, they go to competitors who've got better games. You know, if Games Workshop didn't do tabletop games, they just made model kits, then the narrative is everything. If they didn't make models and they just made games, then the gameplay balance is more important. So yeah, it does need to be a 50-50 balance between the two. I don't want to play a game that sucks, because I don't want to collect an army that sucks. You know, I'm not going to play, you know, Thousand Suns competitively because I know I'm going to lose. It's not just that they're difficult to use, it's that they suck. So that's why you need to balance it, you know, you need to make one army really, really good briefly. Have you tried the new army thing? Oh, I've already answered that one. The answer hasn't changed, still no. Not a big fan of speed paints in general, to be honest. I don't have many, I've got 4 or 5 contrast paints, and that's about it. Because I wanted to try certain colours for certain things, and I just don't get on with them, man. They're far too expensive. Hello, Explore Norfolk. How are you? While I like some of Army Painter's products, after the deceptive marketing of speed paints before its launch, I'm being cautious before buying into any of their ranges until they've been out for a while. I don't think it was deceptive. I think their marketing was on point, and I think their product was maybe not tested as well as it should have been, and they were kind of hoping people wouldn't notice. I don't think it was deceptive. I don't think they were intentionally going after people or to get people. And then they went out of their way to correct their mistake. And that made them really stand out as a company. Army Painter suddenly went from being, in my opinion, probably one of the worst paint providers in the market to being one of the most important, because they were out there going, hey, we made a mistake, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is what we're doing to fix it. And they documented the process, they showed us what they were doing. And now they're kind of doing the same thing again with their new paint range. Because Army Painter has for a long time been just a terrible paint range. I'd have no qualms going through my paint racks and just throwing out all of the Army Painter paints. In fact, I might do that tomorrow. Yeah, they're rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish. But they're going to change, because they've been telling us they're changing, and everyone who's worked with them on this has gone, yeah, they've changed, and they've made better paints. So I still got faith, and I'm looking forward to trying their new paints. I'm a little worried that the paint sets they've put out or that have leaked are ridiculous, in the sense that they are 300 odd paints in one go and it costs £600. I'd much rather have a £20 or £30 starter set with, 15 paints in it or so. So yeah, when I started with Warhammer 3 years ago, I would have killed to join the workshop team. Nowadays, I would probably not. I love the game too much and could not shut my mouth. Yeah, that's one of the problems. Lots of people join GW, and then they realise they've joined GW, and it's not great. It's not great. It's worth doing at least once, though, working in the retail side of things, just so you get to see what it's like on the other side of the counter. Plus, getting paid to paint your models is absolutely fantastic. True, however, the flaw must have been obvious to them through testing before it launched. A lot of the promoters got sent paints, didn't say a thing for ages. Any one of us would have found the flaw instantly when trying them. I know I did. Yeah, they probably did. You have to remember that probably cost them a fortune, and they maybe were hoping they could get it fixed before launch. Because if you can fix a problem before it's launched, you say to the influencers, look, we're already addressing this issue. It's going to be fixed before launch, just don't mention it. And then you can roll out the new batch of paints first. Crisis averted, costs you nothing, brilliant launch. But they couldn't make that launch window. And then people got a hold of them who maybe weren't under NDAs, and the truth came out. Or people who even, didn't care about their NDA. Wait, you're not drilling your barrels? Heresy. Brother, I really can't be bothered. There's like 25 barrels here. I will drill them. It's just I didn't do it before I started, and now I'm going to wait till I finish. Yeah. Yeah, I will do them eventually, but I just find it really annoying. Hyperlethality. Hey Bando, have you ever gotten into bolt action? I don't know, have I? The answer is yes, I have. I've got several bolt action armies. The first army I ever finished, completed to like a complete end, was a bolt action army. Before then, I'd always kept painting and kept painting and kept painting and adding things in, and this army was the one I actually went, actually no, I'm done. They're finished, everything's based, everything's varnished. And I've actually shown them off before in my... what was it called? It was a video where I was calling out Midwinter Minis. The I want to play the bad guys video. I show off my Africa core in that video. So if you want to go back and watch that, it's the one with Midwinter Minis smug face in the in the thumbnail. Did you get a Discord set up in the end? Not yet. I'm still squatting in the Outer Circles Discord. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if I want to, what I'm going to do. Am I going to do a Patreon? People are asking me things like Patreon, and I'm not entirely sure if I want to do that. Sorry that. YouTube is like, hey, you should be pushing memberships, and I'm like, no, I don't particularly want to do that either. You know, I'm not sure I want to do those sorts of things because I don't know if I can commit. You know, I'd love to make sure I do everything on schedule for you guys, but I really can't promise anything at the moment with my life all over the place. Pardon me. So yeah, but eventually. Damn, those Germans look amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, I did a whole load of late war Germans and Russians. I actually had a whole Russian naval infantry army, the metal army, and they only make like 12 models for these naval infantry, and I needed like 50 of them. So out came the Dremel, the Clippers, the Hacksaws, and I was doing all sorts of conversions. And unfortunately, the army is in very poor condition. It's been bumped and thrown in boxes, and bits have snapped off and all that. I even got some like World War I Russians in there because they wore the same uniform. I made a Maxim machine gun team for the sailors. I've even got the Brakator Russian patrol boat, which is as big as my forearm. I mean, it is this big. It is massive. I don't know. Oh, there it is. It's on a bookcase somewhere. So, will I go back to it? Yes. If they released a plastic Soviet naval infantry kit, I'd jump on it in a heartbeat. You know, there's some great battles that they took part in. What was it? I think it was the assault on St. Peter's Palace, where they ended up fighting in the garden of this palace. And they lost. They got run into the sea. It was not a pretty sight. But it was very bloody, very, like, last standy. I find it funny when doing German army support action, often get flamed for it. No one batted an eyelid when I did Finland. That's because most people don't realise whose side Finland was on. Also, you shouldn't get bashed for playing the Germans. It's a Second World War game. Someone has to play as the bad guys. England did not fight America. Canada did not fight Belgium. You know, we need the Axis forces there. It is one of the truths of historical wargaming is someone has to play the bad guys. Someone needs to play the VC in Vietnam. Someone needs to play the Iraqis in the Gulf War. Someone needs to play the Confederacy or the Union, depending on which side of that you feel. You know, is Lincoln a traitor? I don't know. Someone needs to play the bad guys. And frankly, there's a lot of people who enjoy playing as the bad guys because, you know, sometimes we root for the bad guys. That's why anti-heroes are a thing. So you don't see many people attacking the Napoleonics community, even though the tales of woe were far more horrific. Yeah. I'd like to do a... I haven't got room. I haven't got the patience to do it. I love the Peninsula campaign. I'd love to do a Spanish guerrilla force, or guerrilla, however you say it in Spanish. But the Spanish rebels against Napoleon, lots of skirmishers in all sorts of civilian attire, supported by some British soldiers, you know, things like the light rifles and the regular red jacket rifles. I've got the boat too. It's big and I'd never use it in a game, but it was too good not to get one. So yeah, I got that. They had two deals on at the same time. It was in a bundle with a bunch of, like, 2 boxes of the infantry, and it was already discounted quite heavily. It was almost the price of the boat on its own. So I was like, well, I want the boat and I want the infantry. Duh, I'm going to buy this. They also did their Wheels of Steel deal at the time, which is if you bought 3 vehicles, it knocked 25% off the price. And I noticed
that when I added 2 tanks into my basket, it knocked the price down before I added the third one I was planning on buying in, because the boat counted as a vehicle, and it knocked a fucking massive chunk off the price. I was just like, bye! So I got that lot very cheap. Warlord, a couple of years back. It's got to be more than a couple of years. Warlord, during first edition Bolt Action, was a wild place. Discounts coming out the fucking wazoo. My favourite discount is they did one for Games Workshop where the discount code was just literally XGW, and it was for ex Games Workshop staff to use, and it knocked 50% off of like all the basic starter sets and like some of the plastic vehicles. Yeah, that was filthy. I spent a lot of money on that one. Probably one of those kits that will vanish and be impossible to find in the future. Yep, probably. It's also one of those kits that can easily be replaced by a 3D print. Very easily replaced by a 3D print. I also want to put the Katyusha rocket launcher on the back of it, because that's one of the upgrades it can have. I want to put the Katyusha rocket like rack on the back, and then I want to build a load of sandbags at the front and put some infantry on it. I also love playing the villains. I like giving people a platform for great heroic moments. Exactly. It's why actors also say that playing the bad guys is always more fun. It's hard to do, but some good minis about now, though. I do Peninsular War for British Portuguese. Yeah, that'd be cool. I watched too much Sharp as a kid, you know. So I want to do stuff like that. I found this the other day, which is just a bag of random metal World War II models, so I'm not entirely sure what's in here. Let's have a quick look-see. Oh, we've got a random head flying off there. Just a German shouty head. Yeah, this is the thing with Warlord games versus Games Workshop, is that Warlord stuff is still hand sculpted. They look like German paratroopers, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of these barrels, they get broken off quite easily. That looks like someone changing the barrels for a machine gun. Your typical snooty officer. That's definitely a Fallschirmjäger. Back when they were still metal, not plastic. It's an Africa Corps guy, a wounded man. I was going to use him for some objective stuff. Oh, I love this model. This is one of my favourite. Look at this just bundle of Panzerfaust and an anti-tank mine he's carrying. He's like, this guy is a silly goose and he is up to no good. That's a fantastic. I'm going to paint that. I need to find a head for him. Let's see what we got. That one works absolutely fine. Look, that's a miserable looking head. Yeah, he looks really happy to be there. I'm going to paint that up later. Oh, that I'm not entirely sure who that's made by. That also looks like it might be not 28mm but 20mm. Looks a bit small. Looks absolutely tiny next to this guy. Look at this character in here though. That's brilliant. The monocle and the documents case, and sure I can source a Luger to put in his hands. It's another brilliant model. I think this is an artisan. It's definitely not Warlord. I do love the the reversible smock. It's one of my favourite looks of the Germans.
So that's cool.
Oh, if that's a militia commander, if I've ever seen one. Look at that. That's brilliant. Let's pop all those away again. But yeah, I bought silly amounts of metal miniatures because you can get them cheap. They're sort of £2 or something on Artisan's website. Yeah, can you imagine Games Workshop selling you Space Marines for £2 a pop? I can't imagine that.
So if you play a World War II naval game and do the Mers-e-Kabir scenario, are the English the baddies or the French? I mean, the French are the baddies just because they're French. I mean, it's like default. Is the Mers-al-Kabir... Is that where the British sank the French fleet after they joined the Germans? The Vichy's declared for the Germans. They didn't want to risk their fleet falling in the hands of the Germans. Also, on the topic of World War II naval stuff, I absolutely love German submarines. U-boat games are fantastic, like Silent Hunter. They're so atmospheric and terrifying. Hell yeah, I'm starting to love bolt action just because of the hand sculpting. It's better than some computer design stuff, GW stuff on one day. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do their own CAD stuff as well. A lot of their new plastic stuff is CAD. It's not CAD, it's actually done with ZBrush. But it's not as sterile as Games Workshop stuff is. Games Workshop uses a lot of asset libraries where they'll have like a basic Space Marine sculpt and they'll work off that. Whereas, I can't remember his name, he's a Polish guy, I think, at Warlord, he still sculpts a lot of the stuff by hand in ZBrush. There's another guy on Facebook who does the Danish army. That's all hand sculpted for World War II. Can't remember what that's called though. Something 44. He does a lot of really nice stuff. Jeff at Die Waffenkammer, JTFM. He does some really great tanks. But gets absolutely screwed by Canada Post every single time. Like, it's every couple of days you'll see him post up about how Canada Post have like upped their prices yet again, and it sucks because he's one guy doing it literally in like his basement, hand building the masters, casting all these models himself, and they're as good quality as any manufacturer out there. And he just needs the support structure to really help him get them out there, and it sucks. Silent Hunter is a classic. Yes, it is. Got my granddad playing that. Being a submariner, he loved it. Yeah, it's really fun. I remember once playing Silent Hunter 3, I think. I snuck into... It's the one way the only port you've got access to is like in Norway, and it absolutely sucks because you carry like 8 torpedoes and that's all you can have at the beginning of the game. I managed to sneak all the way up through the Solent and found the Ark Royal at port and slipped past all the destroyers guarding her, past the submarine net, and I managed to dump all my torpedoes into the Ark Royal, dropping her into the bottom of the Solent, which is, you know, one of the highest defended ports in England. And then I skedaddled back to Norway very quickly. Oh, here's good. So here's a story that can't be corroborated, unfortunately, because basically everyone involved is now dead, I think. There is a story about how Britain got their hands on Tiger 131,
which is the only surviving Tiger 1 that runs. Churchill basically asked a bunch of Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers to go and get this tank that had been disabled. And allegedly he said, I want this tank outside Whitehall, or outside number 10, within 2 weeks, or something. And they're like, sir, I don't think you understand a thing about tanks. It's in North Africa. He's like, don't talk to me about tanks, I invented them, said Churchill. Which, he worked on the teams that invented tanks, so technically it's true. These guys go over to North Africa, they secure this damaged tank, and they get it onto a civilian cargo ship in North Africa, in Morocco, I think it was, at a neutral port. They basically went, don't fly any colours, you're a civilian transport, just get us to England. Don't stop for anything. So they head off to England, and it's all in a book called, I think, The Last Tiger, written by apparently one of these Remy colonels. And they're riding along the ocean, as you do, and they start seeing seagulls. And he goes, oh, what are the seagulls doing? And he says, those aren't seagulls, they're biplanes. They're attacking a submarine. Oh, okay. Why is there a submarine? He's like, well, it'll be chasing something. So they look up with their binoculars and realise that this submarine is going at flank speed straight for them. Because apparently, according to the reports from the German submarine captain, they found out that this ship had got the Tiger on, and they were desperate to stop it getting back into Allied hands. It was the most advanced tank in the world at the time. They're on a civilian ship that's completely unarmed. They have no way of stopping this submarine, and those biplanes didn't last forever. So they were scuppered. They were going to die. So this colonel apparently told the guys to get the tank from down below decks onto deck and load the main gun, and then got into a shooting match with a submarine using a tank. The submarine captain, when realising what was happening and how accurate the British were being with this 88mm gun, ordered his men to throw their supplies and their torpedoes overboard and return to port because they were out of supplies. Because he didn't want to tell anyone that he was losing a firefight with a tank at sea. And I believe he then posted his memos about it after the war. Which, if that's true, and we only have this Remy colonel's account of it to say it's true, is one of the funniest stories I've heard about the Second World War. And I love it. I think it's great. And why it hasn't been made into a movie is beyond me. That's got Henry Cavill movie written all over it. It was great during that muddy period, although when the Germans did come for the remaining French ships, the French did manage to scuttle all their own ships. Well, they a broken clock's right twice. Yeah, the Second World War is an interesting one. There's another great story of the... I can never remember the name of the castle. It was a castle in France being used as a prison for political prisoners. And when the Americans turned up, the German army turned up and said, hey, look, we're working with the local resistance, who were there with them. We've already surrendered to them, and we've freed the prisoners. But we've just been told over the radio that the SS is on their way to kill all our prisoners and we're to retreat with them. Well, we don't want that to happen. We like the prisoners. They were political prisoners and we were holding them. Can you help us defeat the SS? And and they did. And apparently one of the political prisoners was a French tennis star, and who allegedly once hit a hand grenade with a tennis racket. Which, if that's true, again, is fantastic and would 100% be on my watch list if Wes Anderson made that as a movie with Ray Fiennes in it as that tennis guy. Because, it'd be perfect. It'd be absolutely perfect. Castle Aita. Yeah, that sounds about right. Things like the former French Prime Minister were there and stuff like that. All sorts of political prisoners. People who were too famous and, powerful to off and just had to be kept out of the way. Unlike the regular riffraff who just got taken out behind the baguette shed and shot. Should I leave these guys' claws as bare metal, or should I glaze them up with a colour? What do you guys think? Night, Irish guy. Have a good evening, pal. Ooh. Oh, I'm getting loads of messages all of a sudden. What do I do? What do I do? Sam, that army list you've sent me is filth. It's hilarious, and you should absolutely do it. Okay, and someone's just sending me random news articles or clips from Gaza. Thanks, I guess. Hi Rutger, how you doing, pal? Ow, my back is killing me. I don't know what's next on these guys, I really don't. I have started painting their faces, but I'm still not happy with them. I need to do some glazing on there. I need to get some more shadow in there. In fact, let's do that. That sounds fun. Slop, 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 slop. Yeah, I'm okay, It's Thursday, you know, it's nearly the end of the week. I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm poor. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Glazed medium is great. If you have never tried glazing, it's definitely worth doing. Probably right up there with dry brushing. It's one of the most important skills you can learn to do in painting. Annoyingly, one of the most important things about glazing is patience, which is a skill I don't have. You'll see, well, you should see here, where it started to dry already, it's already starting to like have a coffee stain. All I do is take a wet brush, just gently blend that out. Doesn't show very well on the camera, and I'll need to do a second coat at some point, well, when it's dry. But it'll look better on the other one. Also, glazing is a great way of doing stubble. Oh, free this week.
What's the Epic Game Store trying to fleece me now with? Another little tip for painting faces. Base coat your face the same colour you're going to paint the hair. And then work your way up to the skin tones that way. It will look slightly more natural. And I've even done it here. I actually base coated this guy's entire skin orange. And he's got that very pale skin tone that you'd see on people with very red hair. Whoops, knocking things over. I also did it with this guy, but he's not finished. What I find funny with the Tiger story is, despite its size and chonk status, it was put out of action by a 6-pounder anti-tank gun. Well, you know, tracks are not exactly the toughest thing in the world. I also really like the story of the German officer apparently writing a letter to his British counterpart, complaining about how unsporting it was that they were sending sending heavy tanks or something at him that could only be killed by... Or no, that was it. The British officer sent a letter saying it was unsporting that they were shooting at tanks with anti-aircraft guns, the 88mm. To which the German officer replied it was unsporting to be sending tanks that could only be killed by an anti-aircraft gun. That's a bit better. Get a bit of colour in there. I'll do some purple as well at some point. It is not very sportsmanlike, no. But war generally isn't. I think modern war is definitely showing how unsportsmanlike it can be. I'm hating this head, by the way. The hair on this is awful. Ooh. I probably won't be on for much longer, guys. Maybe another 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to have to go to bed, unfortunately. It's a pity we're never going to see the likes of things like the Pack 40 and the Flak 88 ever again. 80GMs are just too good. I couldn't be a Space Marine. I couldn't have these service studs and things stuck in my head. I'd end up picking them out every single time. The apothecaries would hate me. Oh, Bando, stop picking at your service studs. They'll never heal. New bloody formula Null oil. It's horrible. It's so thick and glossy now. I really don't like it no matter how much I shake it up. Yeah, I'm going to have to add some matte medium or something to it to get it working. I have liked using a lot of the Black Templar Neophyte heads for these Blood Angels, though. They do fit. I like using oils for weathering, not so much like painting like this. And also some oils have a gritty kind of texture to them, so I don't like using it for things like the leathers. So I like to stick to using things like Agrax Earthshade. It's a pity it's changed formula, really. Learning to use oils, though, was definitely a big game changer for my hobby ability. realising they weren't as hard to use as I thought was a big deal. Yeah, I'm not a fan of streaking grime. It's quite expensive for what it is. I'd much rather just use regular oil paints for that sort of thing. Yeah, I use oils for this sort of just off, like dulling down brown wash, and it does give a really nice matte finish to everything. I oil wash a lot of my armies. I don't oil wash my Raven Guard or my Thousand Suns, or my White Scars. They didn't get oil washed either. Everything else does though. Death Guard is definitely on my list. When they release a plastic Proteus, I will Proteus Speeder. I will get that. Yeah, once the plastic Proteus is out, I will be able to get my Iron Hands Death Guard started, because both of those need Proteuses badly. I also want some for some different armies, but I'm not sure who. Alright guys, I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much for watching. I am always hugely thankful for those of you that come along. A good solid sort of 15 viewers during most of the stream is nuts. I love that. That's great. Lots of good faces I'm seeing here. Guys, I'm seeing, you know, regular people here, which I love. Building a little community. New people that I've seen today, welcome. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was something, you know, you got some value from. If you enjoyed listening to me ramble, I ramble a lot. Please feel free to subscribe, but you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're in the UK, don't forget you can always use my Element Games referral code thing just to get double reward points. That's in the description of any of my videos. Hopefully I should be able to do another live stream tomorrow, or that would be the plan. However, there won't be one the week after. There may be one on Thursday, but there certainly won't be one on Friday, as I'm heading back up north to see my uncle again because he's not well. So again guys, thank you very much. Thank you for sitting with me as I continue to plod through this annoying Dark Angels army. Hopefully I can get them finished. Hopefully we can move on to basing and getting them actually on the table, as it were. And then get some really cool photos staged with them against the Night Lords. Thank you very much, guys and girls. And Sam. He can't keep getting away with this. Alright.